This is a critical message for anyone over 60 living in the United States, Canada, Australia, or the United Kingdom. If you're a senior dealing with unstable blood sugar, your risk of complications, from kidney failure to blindness and nerve damage, goes through the roof. But here's what many don't realize. The right foods can naturally lower blood sugar and even support heart and brain health at the same time. These top 10 foods have been studied across the U.S. healthcare system and international research, and they're often underused by American seniors who are given pills instead of nutrition. The first food you absolutely need to know about is chia seeds. These tiny black seeds are a complete fiber powerhouse, which means they slow down the digestion of carbs and reduce glucose spikes after meals. In the United States, where processed carbs dominate most senior diets, think of white toast, sugary, cereals, and boxed snacks. Adding chia seeds to your oatmeal or smoothies can dramatically improve glycemic control. 1 tablespoon delivers about 5 grams of fiber, and that fiber forms a gel-like consistency in your stomach, which physically slows down the release of sugar into your bloodstream. A study from the University of Toronto found that participants with type 2 diabetes who consumed chia daily had significantly lower A1C levels over just 12 weeks. Seniors in Canada who participated in this study not only improved their glucose metrics, but also reported feeling fuller, which helped with weight control. Another critical factor in managing blood sugar naturally. The emotional story here is about control. Many elderly patients feel like their health is slipping through their fingers, but something as simple and affordable as chia can give them back that control. Another critical food is avocados. This is more than just a trendy fruit from California. Avocados are packed with monounsaturated fats, the kind that don't spike insulin but instead help cells become more insulin sensitive. The fat also slows digestion, which reduces the impact of other foods eaten with it. For seniors, the benefit of avocado goes beyond just blood sugar. These healthy fats are crucial for brain health, reducing the risk of Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. One elderly man in Arizona who'd been battling type 2 diabetes for over a decade shared how swapping out his morning toast and margarine for half an avocado on a slice of whole grain bread dropped his fasting glucose by 25 points over 2 months. People underestimate how much damage can be done by typical breakfast foods. Seniors in the United Kingdom often rely on tea and biscuits or sugary cereals, which spike glucose every morning. Instead, one creamy avocado can lower that spike, improve cholesterol, and even reduce inflammation in joints. A major win for people suffering from arthritis or neuropathy, which often coexist with diabetes. Cinnamon, particularly Ceylon cinnamon, not the common cassia kind, is another food-based solution backed by real clinical evidence. This spice doesn't just taste good on oatmeal, it contains compounds that mimic insulin and actually increase glucose uptake by the cells. In studies done in the United States, seniors who took between 1 and 6 grams of Ceylon cinnamon daily saw a reduction in fasting blood sugar by up to 29%. That's comparable to some prescription medications, but without side effects like liver damage or digestive issues. Seniors from Australia who incorporated cinnamon into their daily coffee or sprinkled it on yogurt saw consistent improvements over 6 weeks. And more importantly, they felt empowered. One woman from Sydney, aged 72, said she finally felt like she was participating in her own recovery, not just following prescriptions she didn't understand. And there's something important about that. When seniors feel involved, when they feel a difference from their actions, they are more likely to stay consistent. And that consistency is the secret to reversing metabolic damage. Next is the often overlooked broccoli sprouts. Not regular broccoli, though that's still good, but the young sprouts of broccoli contain 10 to 100 times more sulforaphane, a powerful antioxidant that targets high blood sugar and inflammation. Sulforaphane activates enzymes in the liver that pull sugar out of the bloodstream, lower insulin resistance, and even reduce oxidative stress in the pancreas itself. Studies conducted in the United States showed that overweight adults with type 2 diabetes who consumed broccoli sprout extract daily had dramatic reductions in fasting glucose levels. One of the reasons this works so well for seniors is because sulforaphane also supports liver detox pathways and reduces inflammation in the arteries, problems that are often magnified in older age. Seniors in Canada and the United Kingdom can easily grow these sprouts at home in a jar using just water and seeds. It costs almost nothing. A retired nurse in Florida, after growing sprouts for just 2 weeks and adding them to her morning omelet, saw her blood sugar stabilize between 85 and 95 after breakfast, instead of her usual 135-plus spikes. She told her doctor she finally felt sharp again, mentally clear, not foggy like before. Fatty fish, like wild-caught salmon, sardines, and mackerel, need to be a non-negotiable part of any senior's weekly diet. These are not just protein sources. They are anti-inflammatory powerhouses packed with omega-3s that directly reduce insulin resistance and triglyceride levels. In the United States, where many seniors rely on frozen breaded fish sticks or deli meats, it's no wonder diabetes is a growing crisis. But eating wild salmon twice a week can cut down post-meal glucose and even improve cardiovascular health. A controlled trial in Canada showed that seniors who consumed omega-3-rich fish 3 times per week reduced their C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation, by 40% and improved insulin sensitivity by 26% in just 8 weeks. A man in Alberta, aged 76, who had multiple amputations due to diabetic complications, began eating sardines packed in olive oil daily and saw his insulin needs drop. He said he hadn't felt that strong since his 50s. The emotional weight of that is hard to describe. How many seniors feel like they're aging out of life itself, when a change in food could restore dignity, control, even physical power? Eggs, particularly pasture-raised eggs, are another misunderstood but deeply valuable food for blood sugar control. Decades of misinformation in the United States healthcare system scared people into thinking eggs raise cholesterol and heart disease risk. But now we know that eggs do not increase heart attack risk for healthy seniors, and, in fact, they're one of the most complete protein sources available. They contain lutein, choline, and B vitamins that stabilize mood, support cognitive health, and keep you full. This fullness reduces snacking and late-night eating, 2 behaviors that spike glucose in older adults. In one UK trial, seniors who consumed 2 eggs per day as part of a controlled diet lost weight and reduced fasting insulin levels more effectively than a group that consumed cereal and toast. One woman in Boston, aged 69, said she stopped waking up with blurry vision after just 2 weeks of switching to eggs and vegetables for breakfast instead of bagels. That's blood sugar speaking. Your vision, your energy, even your pain, these are symptoms of what you're feeding your body. Another vital food is lentils. Rich in plant-based protein, fiber, iron, and slow-digesting carbs, lentils do not cause blood sugar spikes like white rice or potatoes. In the United States, where meat-heavy diets are common, lentils are often ignored or used in ethnic cuisine only. But they are a low-cost, nutrient-dense food that should be at the center of more meals. One large study out of Canada found that replacing half a serving of starchy food with lentils reduced post-meal blood sugar by over 30%. For seniors, especially those on fixed incomes, lentils are affordable, shelf-stable, and incredibly versatile. They support gut health, reduce cholesterol, and give long-lasting energy. An 80-year-old man from Detroit who began adding lentils to his soup every evening, reported his nighttime sugar levels dropped from 180 to 115 within 10 days. He also said his bathroom habits improved and he felt less bloated and sluggish. Common issues among elderly people on diabetes medications. Greek yogurt, especially the plain, full-fat kind with no added sugar, is a quiet but powerful tool in blood sugar regulation. It's rich in probiotics, which are directly linked to reduced inflammation and improved insulin sensitivity. Many United States seniors are given antibiotics frequently, which can wreck gut health and lead to blood sugar instability. Restoring gut flora through fermented foods like Greek yogurt improves not just digestion, but glucose metabolism. One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, seniors who consumed full-fat yogurt daily had a 38% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. One woman in Chicago who had been battling yeast infections and erratic blood sugar said switching to Greek yogurt and berries for dessert instead of pudding or cookies changed everything. Her sugar stabilized and her infections stopped. That's what blood sugar control looks like, reaching into areas of health most seniors don't realize are connected. Another food that absolutely belongs in the daily routine of seniors struggling with blood sugar is oats, but not just any kind. Steel-cut oats, or old-fashioned rolled oats. Never the instant sugary packets that dominate store shelves across the United States and Canada. Steel-cut oats are packed with beta-glucan, a specific kind of soluble fiber that slows glucose absorption and improves insulin response. Unlike highly processed cereals, which spike blood sugar fast and leave you crashing, these oats break down slowly, keeping energy and sugar levels stable. In one study conducted by researchers in the United Kingdom, participants over the age of 60 who ate a bowl of steel-cut oats daily had a significant drop in both A1C and LDL cholesterol. A man from Texas, aged 74, reported that replacing his regular boxed cereal with overnight oats, prepared with unsweetened almond milk and cinnamon, helped him feel fuller until lunch, and his mid-morning blood sugar readings finally stayed under 110. That's the kind of daily win seniors can feel. Many are caught in cycles of spiking and crashing, left exhausted, dizzy, or even irritable, but they don't realize it's the breakfast doing it to them. Apple cider vinegar might not be a food per se, but its role in blood sugar control is undeniable, and studies done in Arizona and California confirm it. When consumed before or with meals, especially high-carb meals, the acetic acid in vinegar slows the rate of stomach emptying and helps blunt the glucose surge. Seniors in Australia participating in small-scale trials experienced a 20% to 30% reduction in post-meal blood glucose levels just by taking 1 tablespoon of diluted apple cider vinegar before their meals. The key here is dilution. It must be mixed with water, as drinking it straight can damage tooth enamel and the esophagus. One elderly woman from New York, aged 78, had struggled for years to get her dinner-time sugar under control, always peaking, over 200. After incorporating apple cider vinegar before meals, just 1 tablespoon in water, her numbers stayed under 140. She called it her evening miracle. This small habit, repeated daily, can shift long-term blood sugar metrics like A1C, and it provides an emotional anchor, something seniors can do that feels natural, not medical, not another pill. Leafy greens, especially spinach, kale, and Swiss chard, are fundamental for stabilizing blood sugar, supporting eye health, improving circulation, and protecting the brain. These greens are packed with magnesium, a critical mineral that's often deficient in elderly populations in the United States, especially among those on diuretics or acid blockers. Magnesium helps regulate insulin action and glucose uptake in cells. A clinical review from Canada found that seniors who consumed 1 to 2 cups of cooked leafy greens daily experienced better glycemic control and significantly improved kidney function markers. Many older adults, especially those with declining kidney health, are told to restrict potassium and sodium, but few are guided toward mineral-balanced greens that offer anti-inflammatory benefits without the blood sugar spike. One man in Oregon, age 81, who struggled with prediabetes and hypertension, began sautéing kale in olive oil and garlic every night. After 3 months, he lost 12 pounds, his blood pressure normalized, and his fasting glucose dropped into the U90s. Food like this doesn't just work on a number. It gives the body tools to heal at every level. Blueberries are one of the few fruits that are low on the glycemic index, but extremely high in polyphenols, compounds that enhance insulin sensitivity and lower systemic inflammation. Unlike bananas or grapes, which can spike blood sugar even in small amounts, blueberries actually help muscles absorb glucose more efficiently. Researchers in the United States found that older adults who consumed a daily cup of wild blueberries for 8 weeks had improved insulin sensitivity and cognitive performance. In fact, some neurologists are now recommending blueberries as part of anti-dementia protocols because of their effects on brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which supports neuron growth. A 75-year-old woman from Boston had been experiencing forgetfulness, and her blood sugar was averaging over 160. After adding blueberries to her morning Greek yogurt, she reported sharper memory, more stable moods, and better sugar readings within 1 month. She said it was the first time in years she didn't feel foggy after breakfast. That is the connection between brain and blood sugar that's too often ignored in standard American diets. Garlic may not seem like a blood sugar food, but it is a potent ally for seniors, especially those managing both diabetes and high blood pressure. Allicin, the active compound in garlic, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces LDL cholesterol, and has antibacterial properties that support gut health. A study from the United Kingdom showed that seniors with type 2 diabetes who consumed 1 clove of raw or lightly cooked garlic daily had reduced fasting glucose and improved blood vessel function. Garlic also improves nitric oxide production, helping blood vessels relax and improving circulation, a massive benefit for older adults with poor leg circulation or neuropathy. In Canada, garlic supplements are even being explored as adjunct therapy for diabetic nephropathy. An elderly man in Missouri, age 70, began eating raw garlic mixed into olive oil on toast 3 times per week and reported his foot pain, which he'd assumed was nerve damage, reduced drastically. These are real shifts. This is why food has to be framed as medicine, because seniors are tired of chasing symptom after symptom with prescriptions and no resolution. Nuts, especially almonds and walnuts, are one of the most blood sugar stabilizing snacks available, but they're tragically underutilized among seniors in the United States, where crackers, granola bars, and pretzels dominate the pantry. Nuts are high in healthy fats, magnesium, fiber, and protein, all nutrients that reduce the speed of glucose absorption. In a major study done in California, adults over 60 who consumed 2 servings of almonds per day experienced a 30% lower post-meal blood sugar spike and improved cholesterol markers. One woman in Nevada, aged 82, replaced her daily cookie snack with a small handful of raw almonds and a square of 90% dark chocolate. She said she no longer experienced that late afternoon crash that made her feel disoriented or weak. Walnuts, in particular, have been shown to reduce waist circumference and fasting insulin when consumed regularly. These are small tweaks that require no cooking and very little effort, yet the outcomes can be transformational. Beans, including black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and navy beans, are some of the most blood sugar-friendly foods out there because they're rich in resistant starch, a kind of carb that doesn't spike glucose and instead feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. These bacteria, in turn, produce short-chain fatty acids that improve glucose tolerance and reduce inflammation. In Canada, diabetic patients who replaced a portion of their rice or potatoes with beans experienced lower A1C over 12 weeks and better weight control. For seniors, beans also provide plant-based protein and iron, without the inflammatory effects of processed meats. A man in New Jersey, age 68, started replacing white rice with black beans and cauliflower rice at dinner, and finally got his morning blood sugar under 100 for the first time in years. He also said he felt lighter, both in body and mood. That's not just food, it's freedom. Seniors deserve that freedom from fear, from unpredictable blood sugar, from the cycle of symptoms that leave them powerless. These 10 foods are not just healthy options. They are evidence-backed, clinically validated solutions that improve not only blood sugar, but the overall vitality, mental clarity, and longevity of seniors across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. These foods aren't fads, they are science-based. Tools that the pharmaceutical system often ignores in favor of drugs and procedures. But the stories from seniors, the studies from respected medical journals, and the biochemical mechanisms all tell the same truth. Food works. It can heal. It can restore. It can save lives, if used with precision, consistency, and intention.